Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I think it's about time. We have a good number of you. So let's see how far we'll go in the next 1 hour. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to today's class.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, today we are looking at occupational safety and health inspection. You know, last time we actually looked at labor inspection. We were able to look at some of the crossroads and challenges. So today we want to take it a little bit further to see how this is a follow-up to that, which we discussed the last class. And today we are going to be looking at a way forward to strengthen that which we have discussed. So I'll be using interchangeably occupational safety and health inspection when I say labor inspection. So to just try and see how we can build something as a follow-up to what we did in the last class. Okay. Sorry, let me remove this. So let's see how far we go. Sorry, there's a small challenge here. The laptop is given, but don't worry. That's over it now. So as a way of introduction, the ILO Constitution set forth the principle that worker must be protected from sickness, diseases, and injury arising from their employment. So if ILO had given us this constitution and there are ILO standards on occupation, now health and safety, or safety and health as we use them interchangeably, which is supposed to be the essential tools for government, employer, and workers to establish such practices and provide for maximum safety at work. It's a collective effort, though from our various laws, it's the employer that is expected to make sure that the workplace environment is safe and healthy. Also, the people that come into the facility must also understand the duty of care. But in terms of operation, the ILO standards provides the standard tools for governments, for employers, as well as workers. You know, the tripartite makes up the workplace. The workers and the employer and their representatives, they are the key people at the workplace, while the government or the state provide the regulatory framework for each party to come to the place of work and do the needful. Now, to this end, the ILO has adopted more than 40 standards You know, when we say it provides, there's hardly anything you want to talk about in the world of work as regards occupational health and safety that had not been covered in a way by the ILO standards. In fact, we have over 40 code of practices. Apart from the standards, these are to serve as guides, and they are very, very, very important for you to know that the workplace is a global thing. Just last week, all over the world, the day for decent work was celebrated. And one of the bane of that is to look at how occupational health and safety issues is affecting the workplace. In fact, in the face of the new normal, recently you agree with me that the pandemic had exposed so many things about our situation or our workplace situation. And some of those things are lacking due to some things. So nearly half of the instruments of ILO deals directly or indirectly with occupation health and safety issues. But safety is key. Safety is paramount to everyone. And that's why the standards are there to guide for us to know what and what to do, and their code of practices depending on industries and what have you. Again, the International Trade Union Congress 2021 Global Rights Index shows that during COVID-19 pandemic, the workers' rights, such as the right to strike, right to collective bargaining, right to establish and join a trade union, and right to justice are deteriorating in some parts of the world. Of course, it also shows that the pandemic has devastated jobs. Many have lost their jobs. Communities have lost so many things. And also, we have also lost people, lives. And this exposed the fact that even in the place of work, some things are still not in place. So the trade union has a role to play in this. You know, we cannot talk about the workplace without talking about this group of people. And throughout history, trade unions have played a crucial role in making workplace safer. You know, an average employer, they want to be penny wise, pound foolish. They want, in trying to cut costs, in trying to look at providing safety and all those issues as costs. And you know, an average owner of business, they want to minimize costs and they want to make sure that the capital, I mean, the profit is on the high side. But much more than that, the trade union have influenced occupational health and safety outcomes in several important ways. For example, they provide job hazard information. You know, if you go to some manufacturing of outfit, they say safety starts from the gate. That's a common say when it comes to health and safety, right from the point of entry. There are directional signs to show how you must work, where you must work, certain things you must do. It's a duty on the part of the employer, but they may not want to spend that much. But when you go to a proper, well-organized structures, especially those that have to deal with one issue or the other that borders on occupational health and hazards, right from the gate, you see the pointer. They will tell you where to go, the floor is slippery, so many things. Anyone that comes into the facility has the right to know. They must know what they are being exposed to. And not only the right to know, they must also be able to participate. Like I told you in the last class, they must need to participate in whatever is going on in that environment. So the trade union have influenced occupational health and safety outcome in several ways, not only just providing hazard information, they also do that through the protection of workers who refuse to accept hazardous assignments. The worker do not just have the right to know, they do not have the right to participate. Remember I said they also have the right to refuse hazardous assignments. Any assignment that is hazardous, that is dangerous to their lives, to their health, they have the right to say no. And when they do that, the union have to come to their aids so that the people that matters will have to put things in proper perspective. And also they have contributed in the assistance and representation of workers in accident compensation claims. You know, we have had so many super stories when accidents occur on the job. You know, these are part of the things that ought to be reported. But in most cases, such accidents are not even recorded. they are not reported. And that shows that something is lacking. And that's why we are looking at the occupational health and safety inspection. So they will assist, they fight, they know what the law says, and they can always make case for their members. Now, also by influencing the regulatory process and its enforcement, because they are the one that will bear the brunt of whatever happens at the workplace. So they try to influence, they have to also talk to people that matters in terms of regulation and enforcement. They bargain for provision of protective equipment. Just recently, you are all witness to what happened to our health sector. And you see the struggle that have been on for some time now. Even up to recently, up to last week, the resident doctors, the joint health worker health union, JOESU, joint health staff union, and so on and so forth. What were they fighting for? It's also a part of a way to agitate for a safe environment, a place where everybody will want to come and work, and then they will be able to return back to their home, not in pieces, not in bits, but intact. So also they are contributing to the establishment of joint union management, health and safety committees. Usually, in the workplace, there's what we call the joint union health safety committee that comprises representative of workers and also the owner of business. They are the safety committees that make sure that things are properly done within the facility, and they make case as the case may be. But in most cases, most of our organizations, you hardly see this committee working. And unions are always at the forefront. And when unions are involved, they will make sure that things are done in the proper way. They will not want to shortchange their members. They will also put management on their toes to ensure that they are doing proper things and in line with the regulations, with the law. And of course, there is supposed to be a reporting line when issues happen. But in most cases, what do you see? They sweep those issues under the carpet, especially when it has to do with fatalities, injuries. They sweep things under the carpet, and that ought not to be. And that shows that something is lacking, even in our system. Again, in theory, in literatures, we see that the role of a union are ignored in this whole of occupational health and safety activities. And mainly we focus on the part that when union comes out, is only when they want to fight for wages, employment, and free benefits. Not all unions are bread and butter union. Those things are very important. But much more than that, they also take the case to make sure the environment where they work, the work environment is okay. That's why you see, you need to understand the struggle of ASU. ASU as a union is not a bread and butter. People say, why don't you always put our salary as the main issue? It's not only about salary, it's not only about pay. We are also concerned about the situation, the facility where we put ourselves and our students. So that's why you see in most of us who struggle, we always hear revitalization. People will say, what concerns you with the government structure? They like, no, we can't close our eyes. That's why you see our union will not only fight for increase in pay, our hand allowances, those ones are important. But more importantly, we talk about revitalization. And thank God for the initiative of a union like ASU in our education sector. What we see today as a TET fund, initially it was they are giving it different name now. What you see at TET fund today was as a result of that struggle. Not only called the attention of government to the decaying infrastructure in the system. That also led to what they call the need assessment in 2012, if you remember. They had to send people to go to the university to look at the situation of facilities. And that struggle today had helped to salvage the decay that was affecting our facility in the institution. So also you see the role of union in all of this. The Health and Safety Committee will make sure that things are properly in place, things are done. I make a case to say, look, For some of us, we don't pay attention. It's only when there are issues, we now realize some things are supposed to be there. As little as first aid box. Not only that, when there are fire incidents, like I jokingly said somewhere last week, you say you should have in your car at least that small fire extinguishing, what do you call it now? Fire extinguisher. But you appreciate it when you see a car burning or a car in your presence trying to catch fire. If you have witnessed one before, you appreciate what it means to have as little as that thing in your car. Because when the fire will come forth, if you attack it immediately, it can save that vehicle. And we have seen people that will rally around when somebody is having fire issue. This brings down, they bring different kinds, and you pour it and save that. But when at the moment the thing is igniting and there's something to quench it, it will consume the whole car. That's why we need to appreciate the fact that health and safety committee are very, very important in the workplace, because they will serve as a compliance officer. They will raise issues that borders on health and safety. But what do you see these days? Health and safety standards are by and large pasted on the wall to show that the firefighters have been there. They make sure that their fire extinguisher are in order. They are wherever they put the certificate. But how many of you just look at the ones in your car and even in your environment? Do you even see all those little things? It's only when there is when there is fire, you appreciate those things supposed to be in place. But if you have a health and safety committee in place, they make sure that those things are in place. And if people that are saddled with responsibility of ensuring that things are in place, like the regulatory bodies, then you will see that the workplace will be more safer than we have it today. We don't just leave everything in the hands of government. As I've said, government is supposed to be the regulatory body. It's supposed to be the one that makes sure that the workplace is fully compliant when it comes to occupational health and safety. But that's another story for another day. Now, historically speaking, as I've said earlier, workers' movement, trade union has played a very, very, very important role over time when it comes to occupational health and safety in the workplace. And this is still the case for developing countries today, where government institutions are not as strong as in developing countries or developed countries, as the case may be. We have them, you will see later as we go on, but they are not so strong. Like I mentioned in my last class, in the 70s, in the 80s, you see those health inspectors, they even come to the residents. When last you see them? We have so many bodies that are responsible, but when you see them, even when there are issues, you now begin to realize that, oh, they are short of this, they are short of that, which ordinarily ought to have been put in place. There's also evidence that unions still play that important role in implementing the statutory occupational health and safety standards. I told you we have well over 40 code of practice and 40 standard, ILO standards that should regulate, that should guide to ensure that we have a safe and healthy work environment. Now, occupational health and safety standards are in it. Will not take a no for an answer. And when they have their representative, they put their best forward to ensure that safety of their members are paramount. They hardly compromise when it comes to this kind of an issue. So in the case of the new technology or new evidence of health implications, physical working conditions are one of the important issues which trade unions and management still negotiate over till date. Whenever you see any union coming, it's not just fighting about salary, they also fight about their well-being. That is paramount. That's why we have union. They are also interested in their work environment and work conditions. Work environment and work conditions. The condition of work must be decent, must be something that will not be hazardous, no matter how little, no matter how insignificant the regulation must be. I just gave an instance to some of us that has vehicle. When last you check the one in your vehicle? And by and large, when you extend it to our organization, we are still way back behind when it comes to issues like this. So unions are very, very important. Now, what is ILO position and work? The International Labour Organization, which we all know was created in 1919, but most importantly, they are interested in the belief that universal and lasting peace can be accomplished in the workplace only if it is based on social justice. And the motto of the ILO is promoting jobs, protecting people. Promoting jobs, protecting people, not just any kind of job, decent jobs. And when people come into the space where they want to work, they must be properly protected. Please take note of this. It's very important. Not only creating jobs, but also creating the kind of ambience, environment that will ensure that people are safe when they come to do their thing. So the primary goal of ILO is to promote opportunities for everybody, more importantly, to obtain decent and productive work, not just any work. It must be decent and it must be productive in condition of free and human dignity. Take note of that one in particular, human dignity. There is dignity in labor. Don't trivialize everybody. Even the least, the cleaner, they must be properly kitted. The one that sweep the floor, that they must be properly kitted. There is dignity in labor. And we must ensure that people are safe when they come to the workplace. The bottom line is that the process of free trade and improved living or working conditions can only hope to develop if there is universal respect for fundamental human rights in the workplace. We respect lives. All lives matters. It's only when we put this at the front burner and we'll be able to put the right things in the right place that people can come to facility and their lives will not be endangered. Their lives will not be endangered. It's very important. Fundamental human rights in the workplace. Dignity of labor. There is dignity in labor. Let's take note of that. Not only that, the mission of ILO, why are they doing all this? To improve the situation of human beings in the world of work. A lot of this has happened and is going to happen. So the overriding task is to move away from the harsh reality of globalization towards meeting demands of global social justice. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. Everybody, irrespective of their level, must be respected, must be considered in the light of their dignity, not just relegate them and endanger them. Every life matters in the world of work. So in Nigeria, occupational health and safety could be traced back to the slave trade period. Just to a brief, just respond down lane refresher. Record shows that the Medical Extension Board of Liverpool Infantry, they introduced the occupational health and safety in Nigeria, and that was to promote the health of the British slave dealer in Africa. As they come, they brought a lot of things to us in those periods, but their purpose was to protect their own people and also the people that are dealers that relate with them in terms of their safety and health. So afterwards, the health services were established by Colin Lugard, who was then, before he became the administrator of Nigeria, he was in charge of the northern British soldiers. So he was able to cater for the health and welfare of those colonial administration and the British soldier. Remember, they tried to protect their people. They value the life of their people. Then the introduction in some Nigerian industries, and then occupational health and safety legislation will begin to have them till we have them today. So currently in Nigeria, the occupational health and safety management is largely based on the Factory Act. That Factory Act law had changed, repealed, and been repealed over time. 1958, 1987, 1990, the Workmen Convention of 2004, and now the latest one, which is also due for review, is the Employee Convention Act of 2010. That is one that you can see that can capture all these, most of these things that have been provided with the previous law. in this current situation. But you will agree with me that even this Commission Act of 2010, as I said, is about 11 years old. It's also due for review because there are new developments over time that were not captured hitherto. And to worsen matter, the pandemic exposed the world of work. We are talking of new normal, new way of doing things and all that. Technology was introduced, and those ones were not captured. For example, we are saying somewhere last week, let's look at the issue of vaccine. Government says by December 1st, every government worker must show proof or evidence of being vaccinated or having gone through the test and they are not positive. The question is, who is going to be responsible for the test? If they have to go for the test, they say vaccine, you can get it, then you have to go and do the test. But the question is, if you want to go and do your COVID test today, who is going to be responsible for it? Are you going to take from your mega small salary or what? That is the issue before us. Now, let's come to the issue, the inspection in Nigeria. The inspection health and safety. So they have not been that effective, like I said, compared to the 70s, the 80s. But yet, they are still the ones that are saddled by law. Also pulling their weight. We have some civil groups that will respond to any issue that bothers the workplace. They are always there.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hi, what's up?
I was not hearing him.
You said what?
I was unable to hear him. I don't know. At some point,
Okay.
I thought my network had.
Because I just discovered that I was logged out automatically, but I'm back now.
Oh, I think we lost him for like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, choice. You can take off from here now. As last said. Can anchor for him.
Not allow me to discuss. Yes, okay. Where is the slide? This time is the slide. But this course is more, it's like it's related to, I don't know, there's a particular professional course I did. Is it I think majority of us have done in HS, is it HSE or whatever?
HS 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's kind of related to that professional course.
It's something very important.
Huh? What did you say?
Important. I said it's very important.
Yeah, what is this?
I think it's very important too. The other one you did was HSC, like safety training, but this one has to do with occupational.
I know it has
I
the
think the scope
occupational
has to do with
safety, yeah, but it's slightly, but necessary. Yeah. But I don't know in Nigeria, do all this I didn't practice in Nigeria.
I'm checking people that are still online. Tosi, can you take up from here?
Okay, Tosin can take care of you. Over to you, Tosin. Bye.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma. Good evening, ma.
Good evening. Hello.
Hi, Tosi.
Over to you. The culture.
Tosi, we are listening.
Listen to what?
You now.
Exactly. Listening to what?
Who call him? Who call him?
Okay, let me call him now.
Hello.
Hello, sir. I can hear you.
Sorry for that. It's a network issue. I will continue from where I stopped, please. Thank you. So let's see how far we can cover. We're almost there. So, as I've said, in Nigeria, we have the role of inspection, occupational and safety inspection under the Inspectorate Division of Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. And I've mentioned the fact that we have some other coordinating complementary bodies, agencies that help in this regard. However, there are some challenges that we know, as I've said earlier, our insurance are not strong enough. On one hand, the measures are costly to implement, whereas so they look at it from cost perspective. And on the other hand, the workers always look for better standards that will bring about average health of workers, to increase them, to make them that better off. There is always a trade-off. That's one thing about our challenge here. As I've said, there are some things that ought to be reported ordinarily that are not usually reported. They are swept under the carpet. There's a lot of compromises going on here and there. So we don't really have a strong institution to really carry out the inspection. They are there, virtually all the ministry, we have a unit, because Ministry of Labor were creation of ILO since 1919. So virtually every country we have a ministry, and one of the units under the ministry are the people that are responsible for the inspection. As I've said, the new normal are not captured in the current laws that we have, and not only by employers. They try to play fast one when it comes to claims and injury at work, even when those things are not properly done. The insurance company also are culprit in this. They always try to come up with a lot of things. Now we talk about group life insurance, this insurance, that insurance in the workplace. But in most cases, there's always compromise. So it's when you have issues that you now appreciate the fact that there's need to be a proper enforcement unit in place when it comes to occupational health and safety. Now, the challenges in the new normal, as I've said, had exposed us. Unhealthy exposure to risk by workers is evident in our climb, and that shows that something is not tallying up. So our laws are not enforced. So we have laws, like I said, as I said earlier, we have standards, we have code of practices, but yet we still record a lot of issues that borders on occupational health and safety in this country. Now, I quickly want to rush through this as time will permit us. We're going to look at 10 steps, because it's not just talking about the lamentation, about the challenges. There's always room for improvement. You agree with me? There's always room for improvement. And when you have room for improvement, you don't just take it for granted. We continue to strengthen not only the law,
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Network again.
So I think he got kicked out because he's not on the list of the host. He's not there.
Yeah.
Hello, Kofi, can you hold the brief? Or Dr. Grace, can you help us out?
You, why can't you lecture? Well,
I don't know, my many people have visited me.
But the slides are not in the lecture.
huh? What do you say?
No, Owen is saying that someone should continue the lecture. So I'm saying the slides are not visible even for us to even do any lecture.
Yeah, she know when him can't take it. Oh.
sorry for that break in communication. It's a network issue. We are still in Nigeria. We are not there. But please bear with me. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
The aspect that we are still in Nigeria.
Yes, so we are still Nigerian now. We'll get there. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to the 10 steps. Like as I said, not just to lament. How do we strengthen the labor inspection that they can leverage on all those code of practice standards and ensure that our workplaces are safe and they are healthy. So we have just 10 points. That could be more, but I want us to leverage on these 10 and probably for the purpose of the exam, to be able to use these points to express the way forward in terms of labor inspection on occupational health and safety issues in Nigeria. It's something that is applicable. We can leverage on them to better the lot of our inspection units. But you know definitely something is wrong that we are not doing properly. So the first one is creation of an appropriate structure and organization. I said in passing the other time that we have Ministry of Labor in every part of the world, which is a creation of a ILO. But much more than that, we have to also find a way to domesticate to meet our own needs. In Nigeria, we have Ministry of Labor. We have in the states Ministry of Labor too. They have some components, some key units that should be functional, well structured. Like I said, today you see even individuals who are more expert than all the labor units of inspection put together. We have them in individuals who are consultants to the World Health Organization and other bodies. We have them that are running a small group like human rights activists. You should be surprised their knowledge, they are vast in most of these things, especially when they want to confront the issue of the day. They always find a way to show their expertise when it comes to issues. So we need to reshape. We need to reshape the national.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sure. I can hear you.
All right, thank you. So I will be a little bit fast because of time and the way this internet is fluctuating today. So as I've said, we need to create appropriate structure and organization. We have too many groups spoiling the whole thing, and even the so designated inspectors, we don't even know whether they are still there or not. But definitely, we need to have a look at our national labor policy. I'm glad to announce that I was told by some union that they are engaging the government on some of our obsolete labor laws. So we need to create the right structure, the policy, the labor inspection policy, human resource policy, internal policy and enforcement policy in an individual organization to come into parity with those core labor standards. As I've said, there are standards, global standards, convention that we even sign into as a country. And this is what made the difference between us and developed clients, where they pay attention to each of these standards. And that's what made the difference between individual member states. It's not only to sign a convention, how do we domesticate it? How do we make them to be functional? So we need to look into the question of our appropriate structure and organization. As I've said, we have duplication of effort. We don't even know who to hold responsible. Environmental, they have segmented, disseminated everything that you don't even know who is responsible for what. So we need to articulate them and create a structure and organization that is going to address this issue. Secondly, we need to look at better utilization of resources. It's sad to note, for example, if you want the ministry people to come and do their jobs, like Nigeria, sorry to mention, I don't want to mention this, but you see, they will talk about we don't have facility, we don't have the mobility, we don't have this, we don't have that. The question is, what is happening to our resources? How are we leveraging on our resources? So we need to ensure that we don't have shortages, so that you be mobilized to go and do their work. Just typical Nigerian police, I'm sorry. That every now and then you see individual, you see state government coming to their aid by donating vans, vehicles to them. From time to time, we have had different ceremonies, but still yet, you still have the need for them to respond. In some states they respond, in some they don't respond, or they respond after incidences. But people must be mobilized properly, especially the official safety and health inspectors. They must be well funded. They must be well staffed. One of the problems we have with them is that we don't have them in good number, and they are not well funded. When there are issues, we know that there's a lot of lapses that are not there. It's like they are not organized. But some people are marking time in those units. So there must be better way to utilize our human, material, and other resources, especially in this aspect. They need to empower them. When they have an integrated inspection system, it's a way to conduct inspection using resources in the most efficient way possible. But we don't know what happens in Nigeria as a case. As I've asked, in different industries, there are some regulatory bodies. They are supposed to do, even the ministries, or even the National Assembly and other bodies, they have oversight function. What is the essence of this oversight function is to ensure that people comply, to ensure that they do things the right way, to ensure that the proper things are in place. But it's a solid state with what you have, even among the private sector, it's even worse. If we can say bureaucracy is killing things in the public sector, what about the private sector? A lot of things are swept under the carpet. Only when human rights activists, when people that will bring it to the social media, that's when people will now begin to castigate you, to talk and all that. But if people that were saddled with have done their work in the first place, it will not lead to fatalities, injuries. Not only when they are now talking about claims, then insurance company will also be raising some issues. So there's need for us to utilize our resources to get our workplace to be a better place for all. Number 3, there should be introduction of effective training. Most of those people, like I said, a lot of the new normal has exposed so many things. They should be exposed to effective training that will make them to carry out their duty. The occupational safe and experts, even the so-called health and safety committees, they must be exposed to training that make them to do the job properly. They need to develop a clear, specific, national tailored concept for effective training. You know, not only in terms of the national, in terms of even industry-wise, there must be effective training that will lead to a prevention-oriented integration. Mark the word prevention. We say prevention is better than cure. Not only when there are issues that will go viral, people not begin to talk and begin to show their expertise. No, we must ensure that people that are to do this work are well equipped so that they can have that prevention-oriented integration, or specialized and general inspectors. That's why I said including industry-wise. It's not a blanket thing that cut across. There are some peculiarities that affect different industries. So they must be equipped, they must be trained to address those issues. There are different hazards, and it's only those who are trained that can make it happen. Labor inspector must take an active role in the workplace. Number 4, quickly, an active role for labor inspectors. They are to do a lot of things, to be up and doing, to ensure there is compliance. So we can divide their role into 3-fold: the supervisors, the advisors, and the enforcement agents, with an overall mission of guidance. So it's only in Nigeria that the regulatory agency will be waiting for you to make mistakes so that they can grab you. No, you don't wait until when they make mistakes. Prevention orientation. Enforcement agent, not only to wait for people in one corner and allow them to make the blunder before you now say, okay, you are in. No, you must be very active to ensure that things are properly done beforehand. Again, number 5, integrating inspection. As I said earlier, there should be a way to integrate all these people to work in a synergy. You know, there's need to trim down specialists and general inspectorate roles to allow for a one inspector for one enterprise mentality. As I've said, there are peculiarities that have to do with the different industries. And so they must be trained in that light. So according to the Labor Inspection Convention of 1948, number 81, labor inspection they are expected to ensure compliance with legal provisions. We need to engage our National Assembly, as the case may be, a union individual can even do that and put it on test so that we can have the right place, a safe place for work. Number 6 is publicizing inspection best practices. You know, I said we have over 40 code of practices, best practices. We should leverage on the best practices. Just as we benchmark in every industry, we benchmark the best in the world. Likewise, when it comes to inspection in the workplace, we must benchmark the best practices. Creating an inspection plan for frequency of inspections and prevention strategies. As I've said, not a form of a reactionary. It must be a kind of a forehand to make sure prevention orientation is it, not reactionary. We have part of that. People will now begin to talk. Every Nigerian is an expert. When anything go viral, every Nigerian is an expert. So why not train the right people? Why not publicize the best practice as that affect different industries too? It can be industry wide, it can be statewide, because there are peculiarities that must be factored into all this, and the preventive strategy must be timed, must be trimmed, must be tailored to address the industry. And that will help to ensure that we have a beautiful and healthy workplace. Of course, when you improve the flow of information between inspectors and various related parties, it will increase efficiencies, and they will be better off. As I said earlier, there's always room for improvement. So let's make sure we make this as a way to an attempt to strengthen labor inspection. If you have it in your circle of influence, if you have opportunity of being part of health and safety committees, these are issues that must be on the front burners. Number 7 is to ensure that tools for management system and labor are inspectors, right tools. It's not going to just centralize such as a data sheet, active research, and on the job training of important policy and current event issues. Not only when it happens. Remember, before the pandemic, the world of work was experiencing technology influence, technology advancement in the changing the processes and the way we do things. But we discover that even with all those new technologies, there are some things that are now coming out. Before COVID, people have been doing flexi work time and what have you. It was more or less restrictional. It's not mandatory. But now at a point, COVID makes sure those things are mandatory. You have to do a 2 or 3 days work and stay at home and what have you. But it has come to stay. It also has its own challenges. When some of you are working from home, you even discover that you do more, you spend more. You have to power your generator, you have to get data, and also the meeting can be endless, can be forever, it can be at any time of the day. You sit in one place, sitting in one place alone, sedentary. Some jobs require that you sit, and they say, okay, it's not healthy to sit in a place for longer than a particular period. Stretch the leg, move around, let the blood flow. And of course, a lot of things happen when people were working from home, which are challenges that also were not captured each other. Now, quickly, number 8 is task-related issues. We need to foster the important role of social dialogue among other sectorial approaches. Like I said, instead of having duplication, there must be a synergy. There must be an integrated system that bring all that matters into the space to really make sure that things are done in a related tasks are done in a synergy that will bring about effective results. Again, number 9 is stressing networking. As I said earlier, when there's relationship, there's integrated system, there's need to really stress this networking. Work from all the angles. So providing inspectorates with knowledge, training, financial support, and expertise through a steady flow exchange of information with other organizations. I love to refer to Nigerian police. Over time, from time to time, you see people coming to their aid, individual organizations, and so on and so forth. We need to stress networking. All the people that matters that are related to these issues of inspection must be properly brought together. And lastly, the other issues. Taking steps to curb corruption and other challenges that currently hinder the field. There's no doubt one of the bane of occupational health inspection is corruption. Corruption is everywhere. When somebody is sent to go and enforce, and when they see that, okay, things are happening, by the time they call them to the corner, money change hands, then the report is not well filed, properties are not done, They settle quickly before the thing will escalate, and the laws and the sanctions are there, but they are not, though they are not enough strength, but the embarrassment is because they will try to corner it and sweep things under the carpet. When a company is supposed to have something in place and there is not there are fines. But when it is not reported, how will you know? It's only when there are problems, when there are issues, you know that those things are supposed to be there. They are not there. Corruption, especially anything that borders on enforcement. If you are not corrupt, you will be compromised. If you are not compromised, your life will also be at danger. So people will always want to bring about so many things to hinder enforcement of laws. It takes a strong will. And that's why you see when people come to us, this is our direction, it's just a matter of time. They will go back to the old ways. Why are we not having those things effectively done? It's because of corruption. When somebody is supposed to go and inspect the factory to be sure they have it there, you begin to wonder, even in terms of our building, begin to wonder who approves those buildings. For some people will sit in the offices and they are there occupying space. You go around, you see some things and say, who approved this structure? Do they consider the health of the people, both residential and even offices? It's because somebody somewhere is not doing his or her job. Even when they come around and they mark a building, for example, it's just a matter of days. After some time, the whole thing will continue as if nothing had happened. You just want you to show up and then settle the boys, and then you can continue. So anything that borders on enforcement is always compromised. And there are other issues, artisanal issues that goes with such happenings. We are all living witnesses to it. As I've said, prevention strategies are very key. And when there is a proper check, even at the industry level, when you have the health and safety committees in place, it also brings to bear the reduction in fatalities, injuries, hazards that we encounter in the place of work. So there are many, but for time and for now, I want to limit it to these few areas. The 10th point gives you opportunity to also add your own thinking or express yourself. The 10 steps for strengthening labor inspector give guidance. It's just to give guidance on how to structure and develop a well-functioning labor inspectorate. So you're able to express your thoughts in this line and bring your experience to bear when you are faced with an examination situation. But more importantly, it's not just to pass exam, it's just for us to be conscious, to be aware that we are also involved. We are stakeholders in ensuring that the workplace is a place that is safe and healthy for not only the workers, even the customer, people that come into the facility. It's a responsibility that must be shared. It's a duty call that we should not just gloss over. Safety starts from the entrance, from entering the facility, and it can also imply this even in our own personal and individual lives. So I want to pause here and take some of your comments, questions if there is any. Any comments? Any comments? Any question? It's time for you to talk. Let me call names. Okay, let's hear who wants to talk. You can raise your hand. You can also put your question in the chat box. Eniola, let's hear you today. Any comments?
No comments, sir.
Don't say no comment. Madam Grace, let me hear you. I know you are raising your hand. Don't mind Eniola. You will comment to Eniola. I'm coming back to you. You are going to say, you will tell me about the
Good evening, sir.
your place of work.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to even talk about.
All right, let's hear you. Grace, let's hear you.
The health and safety, are not also helping matter training they come back with some certificates, but the aspect of compromising has really, really, should I use the word destroyed their positive acts. So in terms of, because you gave an example of the fire, what they call this, fire extinguisher in our place of work, or the one in the car. For instance, now the fire extinguisher is expired, and the health and safety committee will still go ahead and still put that fire extinguisher there, and they just remove the date and apply another date there, so that when
inspectors come.
should I call this? The inspectors come. When they come, those ones too. They are also the architect of the predicament of this country. When they get there, they just look at the date. Okay, is an order. They are supposed to get this fire extinguisher and make use of it. With this, you can see the companies that are aligning to the rules and regulations of supervision of the country, of a company. But the health and safety committee are not helping matters. So they have the issue of compromising. Same thing with supervisors.
Grace, you have a beautiful point, but one thing is I didn't see your face. When you are talking, I just hearing your voice. I can't match the face with the voice. So let me see your face when you are talking now. In this class, I don't know why you always having your
let me go to where there's light so I can see my face, sir.
points. And let me see how you are gesticulating too. Okay.
Okay, I want to stay where there's light so you can just see my face.
Okay, thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. Any other comment? Any other person? Any other your experience in your place of work? How is it like? Eniola, don't run away. Oh. Hey, okay. Aramide, are you there? Can we hear of your experience with health and safety in your place of work? Aramide, people are running away. Oh. Aramide, okay, Grace, I can see you a little now. Better, you see now. Nice comments. Well done. At least I can see your face a little now. You always comment in my class, but if I see you, I won't know who is this Grace now. I will have loved to have a very good class. Well, it's good. Thank you. Thank you. Aramide, let's hear you. Who want to talk? Adebayo, Emmanuel. Are you there?
I'm here. Good evening, sir.
Let me hear your experience about what we have discussed today. Any comment from you?
No, I'm fine. I went through the 10.
Okay. Oh. DK, let's hear you.
Hello, sir.
Okay, let's hear you.
Okay, I want to ask, you mentioned that workers should reject any duty that they are assigned to that they find hazardous.
Oh, let me correct. I said they have the right.
Okay, they have the right to reject.
Yet,
and then they can also complain or report to the health and safety committee if such a job is assigned to them.
Where you cannot do it yourself, but you have the union strength and the health and safety committee in that light. Okay, your question?
What I wanted to ask is, what if there is no health and safety committee in that organization, or there is no trade union, or like some organizations that do not have a trade union?
That's
so
the
what
point.
would the person do?
That's the point we are making. You can also value your life at the expense of work. You can walk away. It is when there is life, then you can accomplish. But because of the situation we have found ourselves over time, unemployment situation, people are taking jobs that ordinarily they will not take. Remember, I emphasize there is dignity in labor. Every job role is important. But the way we treat ourselves in this country seems to show that we don't value our lives. People risk their lives because of unemployment. They just manage. An average Nigerian is a good manager. When we ask you, you complain about your work, you are complaining. God is and say, "I the craze." The thing is still putting food on my table. It's still giving me some small, just like somebody with a meat with bone. Yeah, they gave me meat with bone. They say, they craze. There's still meat. You can see even the bone, you can turn it to biscuit bone. Because what some people are looking for, you have it on a platter of good. You look at the employment rate, look at people that are out there looking for such things. You just want to stay in there and manage it. When they ask you how far, say we are managing. Every Nigerian is a good manager, but we are managing it in the wrong way. Well, because of situation, unemployment, and other circumstances, people cannot really assert when they are even giving hazardous assignments. And if you go into it, you lose your life, even to get the insurance. Look at the example of the frontline workers when it comes to this COVID-19. Some children have become orphan because my father is a doctor, mother is a nurse, and they were frontliners, and they have been affected by COVID. What happened to them? Who takes care of them? Even the issue of insurance that was supposed to be part of their benefit, at least you heard what they were fighting over recently in the news. All the allowances that is due to them, they have to fight for it. Despite the fact that they are putting their lives in the front burner. That's why they put their life to save other people. So if you value your life at times, you don't just venture into things that will take your life, that will be hazardous to you, that can render you to become useless to yourself and to your family. So they have the right to say no to hazardous assignment. That's why I said you also have the right to know when you are going into a facility, you are going into an assignment, you have the right to know of the hazard that is at stake. And you have the right to participate to mitigate those hazards. So remember those three rights I mentioned: the right to know, the right to participate, and the right to refuse. When you understand this, you're able to know your place in the place of work. But many people don't even know what is their right. And even when they know, they cannot participate in what is to benefit them, to better their lot. And when they even are giving their hazardous assignment, some of them, because of situation and circumstances, they will not have any choice than to say, okay, let me pray. If I die, I die. You get it? So these are the issues that we have as affecting the occupational health and safety inspection. More importantly, two words I left with you: corruption and compromise. Not only in terms of health and safety inspection, in any field endeavor where it requires enforcement of law, it takes people who understand what they are going into to make it happen. As an average human being, there is bound to be temptation, there's bound to be compromise, and so many other things like that. But we still have some sanity to make sure that we have some things in place, not just taking everything that is thrown at us. Okay, any other comments or question? All right then, if there's no comments, I want to thank you for your attention. Sorry for the intermittent logging in and out with the internet. And I want to tell you that after this class, maybe next class, we're going to encounter one of my colleagues. I will let you know I'm done for now, but we'll look at the schedule and I will also inform the next lecturer. So governors, please get in touch with me, Choice, and we try and get in touch with me. Okay. So I will tell you the next person. We have about 3 other people that are to teach with me. I will find out who is ready among them so we can maximize the time. So once again, thank you for your attention. I hope we are able to pick something from what we have done, but more importantly, please pay attention to those 10 that you can express to strength inspection. We'll talk and meet again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, sir. Happy
You
birthday
people,
once more.
I don't know your faces, so I hope I will see you in the exam. We'll know ourselves when we meet in the exams. All right, so thank you, everybody.
All
Bye.
right, so good night.
Right,
Bye.
sir.
Thank you.